Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this flexible purchasing system for community opportunities for Rotherham Council drop-in session. My name is Gillian Askew. I am one of 3 directors and co-founders of a micro-social enterprise called Go for Growth. And we are supporting Rotherham Council with this procurement. And our job really is to help providers who want to take part in this procurement, but also any other procurement in the public sector, both in Rotherham Council and outside, to help you to access those opportunities and take part. This drop-in session this morning is, it's got 2 parts to it. So the first part is I will update on just a couple of key clarification points that are in the clarification system, but it's also an opportunity for anyone who has dropped in to attend to ask any process-related questions that you might have. Because this is a flexible purchasing system, although there are data downloads, there are periodic evaluations of opportunity. It is always open. So if you haven't yet applied to take part and you want to, you can continue to do so. So it is an open opportunity running like a dynamic purchasing system, although it is called a flexible purchasing system in Rotherham. So just while we wait for people to join, you've just a couple of things to note. The session is being recorded, please feel free to put any questions that you might have in the chat or in the Q&A. And if you do want to have a more detailed conversation with Go for Growth, you can do so if you email support@goforgrowth.co.uk, then we can set up a 30-minute Teams chat with you, or we can do that via the phone or via email, whatever. So please do feel free, if you want to have a more detailed conversation than we've got time for today, please do get in touch. There were just a couple of things that I wanted to pull out from the clarification process. You can access all of the points of clarification through the messaging function in the Your Tender system in line with this opportunity. So I've been on there this morning to have a look. And what I can tell you is 3 things, actually. So there is a clarification response that says 7.4 public sector contracts only has been removed as it's not relevant. So if you haven't yet applied and you see that point 7.4, you know you shouldn't see that any longer because it has been removed. Also, there's a question on whether there was a minimum economic standing that was relevant to this procurement, and it's been confirmed by Rotherham Council that there is no minimum economic threshold for this procurement, so you can ignore that question. And then thirdly and finally, for the purposes of this morning, there was a question about whether you could use Rotherham Council as a current contract example, and the answer was yes, you may. It is permitted. You can use RMBC as an example of someone that you are currently working for. So there are other questions in there. There are points of clarity on pricing. There's points of clarity on specification in terms of what might be included in a particular lot, for example. So our advice in Go for Growth is always, as part of your tender submission, make sure that you read through those clarification questions because it could be really useful. And if you have a question that you want to ask the council, it's often useful to read through those clarification questions and answers before you raise a question. It might be that it's already been raised, and a much quicker way of getting the answer than raising a clarification. But we also always recommend, if you have any questions at all, please make sure you use that clarification function process. If you come to Go for Growth and raise a question with us, we will also let the council know. So anything that comes to us can also be flowed into that clarification process. So everybody has a fair and equitable opportunity to see the question and also the associated answer. I'm just going to open up to the floor then. It is a drop-in session, so it's not a presentation session today. It is a Q&A session. If there are any questions, I'll just double check in the chat and see if we've got anything. So there's nothing in the chat at the moment, nothing in the Q&A. Please do feel free to put anything in there if there is anything. Although we have half an hour set aside for this session, if there are no questions that are put in the Q&A or the chat, we can always end the session. And then anybody that's attended today, if you did want to have a Q&A outside of this, or you want any support, you've got any questions, you absolutely can do so. So I'll just give it a couple more seconds just to see if there is anything in chat and Q&A. And there isn't this morning. So, okay. What I will say is if you've joined, thank you ever so much for coming along. Hopefully those 3 clarification questions that I've been through have been useful. If you go in the clarification messaging service, there is also copies of videos of coaching sessions on the actual application form itself. So if you need any support through there, you'll be able to access those videos through the clarification function also. Or if you want to drop me an email, I will send those out separately as well. They're also on our YouTube channel in Go for Growth. As there are no questions in chat or Q&A this morning, what I will suggest to do is I'll close the session now. If anybody does have anything that they want to chat to us about, please do feel free to get in touch. Good luck with your submissions, and thank you for joining today.